Good morning and welcome to a very special edition of the Safety Net series. This week we are talking with United Way's 211 about that program, and today is a special day because it is February 11th, so it's 211 day. I'm sorry, my phone is going off. Okay. And so we have Trista, who is our VP of Community Impact at United Way, and then we have Lindsay Hinds, who is one of the people who manages 211 with our partner agency, Lifelines Family Counseling. So, welcome, ladies.
Hi.
So great of you guys to be here. I'm going to lob up an easy one. What's 211?
So 211 is United Way's Health and Human Support Hotline. I like to explain it as it's like 911, but it's 211, and it's the number you call whenever you are facing a human crisis or need that you do not know where to go to get the resources. And so it's super easy to use. You just simply dial 211, and then Lindsay has some other options that I'm sure she'll share on how you can connect via text or an 800 number. But the call specialist is there to provide you resources in your community that can assist you with that need that you have.
Great. Lindsay, do you want to elaborate or go a little bit deeper?
Yes, just to piggyback off what Trista said, that's exactly right. We're an information and referral line. So based off your need, we will look in our database and see what resources we have and give you that referral. And I like to say, similar to what Trista says about like 911, you call 211 for basic human needs. And there is a texting and chat platform. And there is an 888 number for the people that have phones that don't allow them to dial that 3-digit number. And we're open 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Wonderful. So Lifelines is one of the United Way's partner agencies. Is your information limited to just those partners, or are other services accessible?
Oh, no, we have a huge database. In fact, our database is statewide. So though we in Mobile, we cover 8 counties, we do have access to the entire state. We are a whole, and we do that so that we can help each other out when needed, especially in times of disaster. So with that being said, we have all sort of, there's just a slew of agencies that are in our database. And then if there's ever anything not in our database, we can always do an out of database referral, which is something we usually try to vet before we do. We are limited on, if you're impaired, we'll help you find maybe like a business or something, but we try to direct you to the free 411 for things like that. But let's say that it's a nonprofit or a federal funded agency that you need information on, and you call directly for that, and it's not in our system, we can do an out of database referral for that.
Right. So you mentioned disaster. What is 211's role in times of disaster?
Oh, that's a great question. So we have various roles. Frontline for when you call in, depending on the area, like if we were to have a disaster locally, then you and Trista may want to help me out here. I have not been at the local 211 with the local disaster, but generally across the state, when you have a disaster and it hits your region, that's when the rest of the state will help with those calls, right? And then we make sure we gather as much information as we can from the callers. So let's say that you have debris and you need cleanup and you need to get on a list, then we keep that going. Any agencies that reach out to the EMA or local partners, VOAD, we have that information that's constantly updated in our system to give out. So we're kind of like the front line for people that need the resources that become available after disaster that are not normally in our community.
Sure. And if I'm not mistaken, is there a volunteer component to that as well?
There's the VRC, it's the Volunteer Reception Center. Now that is something I think, Trista, the United Way, is that something you all put together?
We, as a VOAD partner, we assist with that when needed.
So, but I feel like I've heard somewhere that people could call and say, I'm looking to volunteer, and then you guys could refer them to that. Is that correct? Or am I?
With 211, that is something that we can do. There's usually people will call the EMA directly for things like that because it's just a more streamlined, more direct.
Okay. So I know that most of our agencies, the safety net in general, sort of tries to do things in a holistic way. So when somebody were to call for like utility assistance, that conversation doesn't just stop there. Is that right?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So if someone were calling for utility assistance, that's not the end of the call. Don't you guys go a step further?
Yes,
when
we
you're
do.
Talking to clients.
Yes. So, great question. So, what we'll do, utilities, rent, food, anything like that, we generally try to, and I don't like this word, but it's a word that's used in information referral world a lot, but we try to probe as far as where we don't interrogate. But generally, if there's a need for that, there's usually a bigger need. So what we do is we try to assess those needs first, and then based off anything that they tell us, we will we'll offer other additional resources that may be able to help. Our general quote that we like to live by is like a hand up, not a hand out. So if someone has a need for utility assistance, we offer that. We'll offer additional resources if they're available and they want that. We also offer to follow up. If and when we follow up, they say no, that we were not able to get help, we do outreach. So sometimes the resource isn't available. Sometimes they're just out of funding for that month. But knowing that information to pass that along to the caller is what makes 211 a little bit different than just Googling or trying to do all that research on your own.
Yeah. So how do you guys gather the information that goes into the database?
Outreach and community partners.
So they submit. Trista, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to use this as an opportunity. If you are a service provider in the community and you don't think that you are on the 211 database, please call 211, connect with Lindsay, connect with her team, because the information in the database is only as good as what we've collected over the years. And so we want to suffer from information overload, right, Lindsay?
That's right. Yes, we're only as good as our communication.
And are your call specialists, are they part of the staff, or are they volunteers, or a combination?
Oh, yes. So they're part of the staff. All of our call specialists are part-time, and they work Monday through Friday, combination between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, if I didn't already say that. After those hours, it would go to after hours, which is still a part of the state's team, just not local. And so we don't have volunteers at this time. We have interns though. So they qualify. I mean, kind of the same thing. Getting credit for that in that way. So we generally have interns in the spring and the fall, not so much in the summer. And then we have currently 4 call specialists, and we also have 3 navigators that help us on the 211 line often. And so that's your healthcare navigators. We have a few different initiatives that we've partnered with the state. One of them is the healthcare. One of them is COVID assistance. And one is for helping children that may be in our school systems that are homeless, and helping them have access to any needs that they have for stability in their school life when their home life is unstable.
Trista, do you want to elaborate on the COVID delivery program?
Absolutely. So through a partnership with the Department of Public Health, Alabama Department of Public Health, and Mobile County Health Department, 211 and United Ways throughout the state provide COVID wraparound services. So, what that means is if you have a COVID positive test in your household, you can be supported with groceries during your quarantine and isolation time, cleaning supplies, personal hygiene supplies. If there's a child in the home, we can support with diapers, wipes, formula, baby food, if that's a need that you have. If there's a school age child in the home, we can support with some educational supplies just to assist them with continuing their schoolwork while they are in quarantine and isolation. And so to access those services, you just simply call 211. The team at 211 will provide an intake and then get you connected with our COVID coordinators to assist.
So really, 211 is a tremendous resource that can really connect people in a just a wide range of services. As we kind of wind down, do you guys have any other thoughts or comments that you want people to know about 211?
Well, because it's 211 Day, I want to celebrate Lindsay and her team. Lindsay, do you mind sharing just with the audience the amount of calls that were answered at our call center last year? I mean, it's 13,000 and some change, but I mean, that's, to me, that's just phenomenal.
Yes, on a local level, it was 12,658 to be exact, but nearly 13,000 calls on a local level. And that doesn't count necessarily some of the other calls that may be taken like by the state queue. But that's our report for what we did in-house for our community.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah, we definitely want to celebrate all those workers and all of the time and training that you go through to be able to provide this service, because it really is important. Any final thoughts, Lindsay?
Happy 211 Day.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to throw up a graphic that has our sponsors listed. I failed to mention it earlier, but they make so much of what we do possible, and we are grateful for their support. So thank you to all of them. And with that, I will say have a great day.
Thank you.